Hey, what's up people? This is SiTHFuRion, and right now we're going to be checking out the last episode of Secrets of the Vikings. This one is called Stories of the West. I'm not too sure if I've done these in order or what, but these have just been so cool, man. These really have been cool. Just to see more details of like the world that these Vikings came from. It's really kind of like built a whole new level of respect for the Vikings and everything that they've done beyond just the show, you know what I mean? And it's a great show. I really hope that you guys have really enjoyed these videos as much as I've enjoyed actually making them, man. I really, really do. Yeah, this one's called Stories of the West. Let's do this, man. Favorite shot. I love that shot.
All things begin and end in stories.
You keep talking about the West. What do you know of it?
I've heard such tales roll. Great towns and cities, and treasures, hoards of gold and silver, and a new god.
I had a character who was very curious.
That's why we should sail west.
He needed to prove to me and then to the audience that he was someone worth following. So he had to want to go somewhere. And by the same token, someone was going to want to stop him. So that was drama.
Earl Harrelson summons you to attend him in the Great Hall.
Okay, so that's a good start. Where's he going to go?
He would sail west to raid and to colonize. That was your dream, Ragnar.
But believe me, I will be happy enough just to have my name linked with yours when the poets tell the story of how we Norsemen sailed west and discovered new worlds.
It's very easy to think about Scandinavia as being made up of isolated rural villages, small farmsteads, and imagining people living up in the mountains and not being part of the real world. But we know that's not true. By the end of the 8th century, we're starting to see evidence of these places being tied into a bigger network.
Wow.
There's clearly a very interconnected world which comes together at places like Ribe.
Ribe was a very special place in the Viking Age. It seems to be the first place where something that we would call a town was founded in Scandinavia.
Okay, so this is west over here, Morten?
Yes, you can barely see the ocean now, but the North Sea is about 6 kilometers in that direction.
Right.
The river is meandering out, opening up towards the big world and the more civilized Western Europe. In Viking times, we had the marketplace over there. Lots of small houses, lots of fire, lots of smoke, of course. You should imagine the Viking ships going all the way up here.
So this is a really kind of central place in the whole structure of the area, in
Yes.
terms of trade and contact.
When you wanted to buy certain artifacts, you had to come all the way to Ribe, no matter whether you lived in Sweden or in Norway, because
Wow.
it was really the only place to get those artifacts in the 8th and early 9th century.
So what would this look like in the Viking Age, do you think?
This was marshlands with the river running through it. Then you must imagine the long ships rowing up the river. In Ribe was one of the few places where you could meet the traders coming from abroad.
And we think this is where the main Viking and 8th century marketplace was.
Yes,
So how do we know that?
we know that from excavations, so it's all archaeology. One of the big excavations in the 1970s was done just on the way up here towards the art museum. All the artifacts coming from all the specialized crafts were found in huge numbers. So it was quite obvious that this was not just a normal agrarian settlement, this was some sort of trading site, trading town.
A really big kind of commercial centre.
Yes.
So you really can't understand the Viking Age without Ribe, can you? It's kind of central to understanding that. People talk, objects move, people start to see and think about what's over the horizon. The coming together of trade and craftsmen that we see at Ribe is the first step. The Viking Age starts with Ribe.
Wow. Wow. If you really think about it, that's
Was
crazy.
unique. It's a bridge between worlds.
So this is Western European stuff, most of it. Both more everyday products, but also luxury items.
It's very fascinating to see this. This is an almost complete cornerstone.
We don't have good stone for making cornerstones in Denmark. These were brought in from the Rhine area.
The blue glass there might come from
Could
England.
be English, yeah. It's the sort of thing you find in Anglo-Saxon England as well.
Yeah, so like this piece here,
Yeah.
that could be an English glass.
So here are some of the beads on display, which we have excavated on the marketplace. And we have the oldest ones, that was from the early 8th century here at the bottom. And then we see the later ones up to early 9th century at the top here.
You're almost reading the dynamics of the whole settlement and the people here and the trade just through the beads.
Yes. I entirely like these in particular, with these patterns. And they're produced here.
Yes, those are local products. Later on, we see a change and they start to import finished beads from the Middle East.
So how do we know these are from the Middle East?
Well, they're found all over Eurasia, really. You can find them in East Africa as well. It's a global event that takes place just around the time that we call the beginning of the Viking Age. Yeah, so in a sense, we see the spark of the Viking Age. Something becomes available, which makes the distant horizon a lot more interesting.
And accessible.
Yes.
You could ask, how does trading turn into raiding? I think that's probably the wrong way to phrase it, because we know that raiding is going on everywhere and has been for a long time. What really changes is the horizon.
I want to send bigger raiding parties to the west. Yes, to plunder, but also to explore new lands. We can go west, across the Great Sea to a place called England, to bring back such plunder that you have never seen before.
I think the Viking Age is a thing which has a tipping point, and there must have been a reason why at that particular time that change has happened. This could be explained in terms of the power gains that are going on in Scandinavia at that time. If you were able to take the treasures that were stored in the monastery in Lindisfarne or Ironare or other famous places, bring that home to Norway, you would become the most generous chieftain of all that power game, attracting others to follow your course instead of trying to overcome you.
It's about wealth, but it's also about power, and power comes from a kind of a mystique. Being able to tell stories and create a sort of enchantment based on where you've been.
There should be treasure.
If you had a piece of jewellery which very clearly wasn't from a Scandinavian context, and you can tell they look very different, that would mean something. That would have stories attached to it. It would be the sort of thing which you use to tell about your past exploits. These stories would be passed down from father to son, I'm sure. I don't think we should understate the romance or even the magic of bringing in a piece of silver that's come from Ireland or from England rather than from down the road. These items do have a meaning.
We know you sailed west across the open ocean and found land and plunder. So, we salute and praise you.
Oh, so cool, man. So cool. Like, I've talked about this like a few times, like, it would be really, really cool one day to travel to Denmark and go up Iceland and just travel and just soak up that land and explore, like, right, if there is, like, many, like, sites of where Viking villages was and stuff, like, I don't know, I just personally think that would be fucking amazing, just to kind of just go traveling and just see it all, and, you know, and I think that place, Reaper, was it Reba? I think I might definitely have to visit that place, man. Because if that place became like the main focal point for all things like trading for Vikings, like, oh my god, man. Definitely gonna have to happen one day. One day, man. I know for you guys, like, you've seen one of these videos, like, every 5-6 days or so I've uploaded these videos. But for me, I've watched all these in one night. And I am itching. I am itching for the new season, man. What's really, really weird is I've never really been big into history. Like, even back in school, like, I had no time for it. Like, and yes, okay, granted, like, being a teenager, you kind of, well, I was very hard-headed. I was running around in gangs and doing all types of illegal, bad things when I was younger. But I was always more focused on today and planning for tomorrow. I had no time for yesterday. But as I've gotten older, and I think anyone probably like over the age of 25 can understand, like, when I say this, like, yesterday was a good day. You know what I mean? The past, like, you can never get that back. And there are things in my past that I miss. I really, really miss. Especially like over the last couple of years, I've lost my mum and dad and stuff. Like, the past is very precious, and you can learn a lot from the past. I wish now, like, kind of going back to like when I was younger, I wish I paid more attention in history class in school and everything, because there are so many stories, there are so many personalities and characters, and there are so many things from history that is still kind of relevant to this day. You know what I mean? Like on my gaming channel, there's a link in the description below. I've done reactions to a game called Battlefield 1, a game that is set in like the World War I time period. And like I've said more or less the same thing. Like, I've never really been that big into history until like I started playing Call of Duty 2, a game set in World War II, and like just that time period has kind of really kind of grown on me. I think that's probably the best way to teach kids in schools, is to have something like this. Like, show them. Like, don't just read from a fucking book. Show them. You know, have like interesting stories and characters more than just some school fucking little shitty documentary. Like, you remember in school when they used to pull out the fucking TV with like the VHS player? I'm probably going back a few years now, but like when they used to fucking, when the teacher was lazy and they would just put in a videotape and you have to sit there and watch it, then write a little thing about it afterwards. Like, fuck, man. But like, if you had like a proper show that really delved into it, goes back to what I was saying a few episodes ago about how Vikings on like the History Channel is a blessing and it's a curse. It's a blessing because the History Channel is all about talking about this history and educating you. You know, that's what the History Channel is. It's about educating. And I think this show Vikings have done a perfect job. Well, for me anyway. I think it's done a fucking tremendous job. Michael Hurst, I fucking love you, man. You're fucking amazing. Oh, shit. But yeah, man, I think I'm just going to end it right there. That's the last episode of The Secrets of the Vikings. If I'm wrong, if there are more out there, comment down below and I will carry on doing these. But these are the only ones that I got sent like on the list. I probably should just check out the History Channel's YouTube page and just see what else I can find. But but yeah, man, give this video a thumb up if you like it. Comment down below, let me know what you think. And subscribe if you haven't already, man. Alright? I've been SiTHFuRion. I'll catch you in the next one, man.